It says here on the piece of paper that sometimes it can be pretty simple. And that's relative to our desire of what we can do to elevate our consciousness. Things we might do to bring about and create this we consciousness that our world needs so very badly. And while the world may be very complex and complicated, the things that we can do and say and think so often are really quite simple. Like some of our words that we can choose to say or not say. My new thing, I'm trying to avoid the word fight. Even fighting the good fight. Because bottom line, there ain't no such thing. Even the good fight requires conflict, confrontation. It requires a negative energy exchange. And the result can't be positive. Another thing we can maybe avoid saying, how about labels? Labeling people. Oh, we can label forever. And when we do that, aren't we subconsciously even expecting some sort of a judgment from the person that we're talking with? When you say, that guy is quite a jerk, we want who we're talking to agree with us that the guy's a jerk, the negative. Or a loudmouth Republican, or a loudmouth Democrat, or a Christian, or a Jew, or a Muslim. We use all these labels. How about we just call people people? And every one of us does it. I do it every hour. I label people. And I think the signals I send, the energy that I send, might be a little more positive if I can start cutting back on that a little bit. And then, like I was telling Mystic and Arrow, another very simple thing that we can do is just be kind. Today I'm going to tell you 3 stories. Each one of them is about being kind. And each one of them is quite different. But each one of them has great impact on another human being's life. I'm going to start with something that happened early this week. Quite frankly, I haven't had one of the best weeks. My weekend off, I had great plans and it didn't turn out, so I had a little disappointment. And crab feed tickets weren't quite what we would hoped. I was a little disappointed about that. And there's been some memorials I've done, and I got a couple more to do. It's just been one of those, nothing really wrong weeks, but just kind of downer week. But we were having a new member come in this Sunday, and I was excited about that. So I called Northlight Bookstore. I like Northlight. It's a local place. Every dollar they generate stays right around here. And I know the lady, I don't know her name, but I've been buying books there for Church of the Oaks and for me for years. And I said, hi, this is Pat McCarty from Church of the Oaks. We've got another new member coming in. Do you have a copy of the 4 Agreements by Ruiz? She said, oh, hi, Pat. She said, let me check, but I think we do. I said, well, if you do, grab one and put it on the counter. I'll be in later today. She said, well, let me check. She said, yep, we've got one. I said, well, put it on the counter, I'll be in. She said, well, I need to warn you, it's really, really, really busy today. New semester starting at the college, and there's a line. Probably will be a line all day. I said, well, thanks for letting me know. I'll make sure I got plenty of time when I come in. So, Janet, I'm going to ask you to do something. Hold that book in your hand. That's a special book, because that book is surrounded by something very special. So I go to Northlight Book, and I walk in, and there's a line, like 30 young students. And I was in no hurry, so I get in line, this old guy standing amongst all these youngsters, and I'm looking at them. And each one of them has a very peculiar look on their face. And I'm thinking to myself, I know what they're thinking. Yesterday, they were feeling quite affluent with money in the bank. And when they walk out these doors, it's going to be, oh my God, broke again. And all this work I've got to do. And I'm just watching them. And I'm actually having quite a good time. And the lady that owns Northlight, or is the manager, I don't know. I don't even know her name. I just know her to see her. She walks out from behind the counter and walks up with that book. And she said, Pat. I said, yes. She said, I don't want you to wait in line. Here. She said, that's on the house. Just a little way of saying thank you for all you do for our community. I walked out to my van, and I got in it, and I called Vivian. I was crying like a baby. That little bit of kindness, the fact that she had all these customers and just stopped and took time to come out and be a kind little guy that would have been happy to stand in line. That really changed my week. So Janet, the wisdom written in that book is valuable. But I think the consciousness that brought that book to you is much more valuable. It's special. Next story. I had the privilege of being able to donate my stage to the women's gathering last Saturday at Courthouse Square. And who all was there? Okay. Well, the lady that put that on, that organized it, set it all up, is a good friend of mine. Her name is Leslie Graves. She's also the Wednesday night farmers market manager for Santa Rosa. They never planned on doing that event until Sunday evening, 13 days before the event. And there were thousands of people there. I had breakfast with Leslie this Tuesday, and she was telling me about what it took to put this thing on in 11 days. And she said, I lived on Facebook, talking to people, responding, every message, every comment, responding to it. And she said, I had some less than positive responses. She said one lady responded quite negatively. So she emailed her back. And the lady talked about her wonderful president, Mr. Trump. And went on and on. And Leslie said, well, you know, it's quite evident that we don't have the same opinion about things. But she said, I'm very interested in your opinion. You must have valid reasons for your opinion, and I'd like to hear about them. I'd like to talk with you. I'd be happy to buy coffee and we could get together and talk. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. And the lady responded, well, I live 3 hours from there. That's not going to happen. And Leslie said, well, the offer still stands. I think you know things that I'd like to know. And maybe I know things that you'd like to know. And I'll go halfway and I'll buy lunch if you'll go the other halfway so we can talk. And she put her phone number down. And the lady called her. She said, we might just be able to do that. She said, you are the first person that I've talked to that has different opinions than me, that hasn't wanted to argue, tell me I'm right, I'm wrong, I'm stupid. She said, you showed kindness. Thank you, and I look forward to having lunch with you. And I think that's going to happen next week. I'm right, you're wrong. There's 7.2 billion of us. We've all got different opinions. And all of those different opinions, for each one of us, have some valid reason why we think that way. Who's to judge that? Who knows for sure that they're right? Something to think about. I know 2 ladies' lives that are going to be different because of that little bit of kindness.